Hi everyone, it's me again, it's Cynthia here, and you're welcome to another video in our programming series. So in today's video I'll be talking about back-end and front-end web development, the major differences, why you should venture into any if you want to, and the resources or the knowledge you need to acquire if you want to become a front-end web developer or a back-end web developer. I'm sure that video is going to be of very much importance to you, so you know what you're going to do. Click the like button, subscribe to my channel, and watch this video to the end. You don't want to skip it. So yeah, for the purpose of this video and for the purpose of being straightforward and making this video as short as possible, it's a jotter that I wrote down the basic points that we're going to be highlighting in this particular video. So without further ado, let's get right into the business of today. So yeah, first things first, I need to introduce the concept we're working with, which is front-end web developers and back-end web developers. In the world of web development, there are people that are assigned to different tasks. There's basically division of labor. Although some people do full stack, but most times there's always front-end and back-end web development. So now what's the difference? I'm speaking from basically from my own knowledge. Yes, you're free to disagree with me if you want to. So yeah, front-end web developers are basically people that design the interface. They focus on user experience, interface, how the site looks like, basically more attractive. They focus on the things we see, the things you see when you come into a website, what drags you into a website, what makes you want to stay on a website, the user experience on that website. That is what front-end developers are for. Whereas the backend developers focuses on user authentication, form validation, storage of data, retrieving of data. Let me break that to you. Let's use a practical example to explain what I mean. When you come to a website, let's use for an instance a website where they buy stuff, or a skincare website, a store where you buy stuff from, a website that sells products. Let's use that, a website that sells products. You notice that you can create an account with them, and when you log in with that account, your data is still retrieved. Like once you put in your email and your password, they bring back your information or your data. Or if you added some things to your cart and you're here to make payment and maybe you log off and you come back and you log on, those things that you added to your carts are still there waiting for you to clear it out. Basically, like your data does not go away. These things are functions of the back-end developers, are the ones that make these things possible. Through the use of APIs and validations, they are able to restore your data in your name. And what it does is that once your name is being imputed into the system or into the system back again, and be like, oh, this name has been used, or this email has been used, or this password has been used, we just need to retrieve this person's information. That is what database is all about. And this is why when you open an account with one email, you can't use that same email to open another account again, because that email has already been stored and tagged to it an owner, so it cannot be duplicated or it cannot be used twice. So yeah, and that brings us to the first difference between, or the major difference between them. They basically do, the backend developers do the backseat work, the ones that we don't get to see, while the front end developers focus on what we get to see. Those are their major differences. I hope that makes a lot of sense, hopefully. So yeah, the second difference we are going to be talking about is the tools that they use, or the stack. Let's call it different stacks for front end. For front end developers, it's basically HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Bootstrap, and you can use any front end framework, either React or Angular or Vue or Vanilla. There are a lot of them, but basically I'm more conversant with React, so that's why you always see me mention React.js. And React is also a JavaScript kind of framework, so it's still an integrated part of JavaScript. So, and some people, instead of JavaScript, they also use TypeScript. So there are different folks for different, how do they say that? Whatever, but you get what I mean. Yes. So yeah, different strokes for different folks. Yes, that's what I wanted to say. But that's definitely easy. Just HTML, CSS, Bootstrap, JavaScript, and any front-end framework that you want to use is fine. Whereas when it comes to back-end, there are the people that use the proper programming languages. It's not just the frameworks or libraries that we use in front-end development. They now do the proper programming language. Whereas they use Python, PHP, Ruby, Java itself, C++, all of them, you can name them. There are a whole lot of them. And when it comes to learning all these programming languages or machine languages, it becomes a little bit more complex, which is what brings me to the third point, the major difference between them. Without mincing words, back-end development is more complex than front-end development. Much more complex, it requires more time or a level of commitment for you to learn it, and it takes longer time for you to learn back-end than front-end, in my own opinion. And the reason why I decided as a person to stick to front-end web development was because I weighed it, honestly. When I initially started, I knew I said I wanted to do back end at the end of the day, but looking at it all, when you grow, your interests change, and when your interests change, you're not just drawn to certain things. You don't just can make certain level of commitment, which is why I said, okay, I will just end my pursuits in front end, verticalize and hold on to that. That is what I'm doing. But if you eventually want to go into back end, trust me, it's the best thing you can do for yourself. Because to be honest, if as front end developers, you can do a one-time project and you're up, but back-end developer, they tend to keep them, especially people that work with database, because once in a while bugs might attack the website, or anything can happen, and they might just need some modification. And that is very common as back-end developers. You must be like, your contract is not always one time off. It's not just build a website, give them the interface and you go. You read the website, you continue to, it keeps your contract ongoing with them, because there's always something to do, there's always some modification to do on the system, there's always something to do on the system, and you're always in job, like you are always on a contract. That's just basically the difference to me. And then another thing I would like to address is some websites actually run without back end. Yes, it's possible. If you want just a static site, whereas the site you just want to use and gather leads, you just want to use and show that, oh, I have a website though. It's not like I have any data I'm storing here or anything. Just design the front of the website, make it to look fine, probably clip link, and people will use that and fill a form to whatever it is that you want to see to do, or people will use that link to go to the place you want them to be directed to, or go to a store you want them to be directed to. Yes, you can use a static front end website with no back end, and it is going to be fine. The only difference is that there's no data storage, nobody can actually store information in that place, and you can just basically not track a lot of things, people that come on the site, and maybe that the user's information, you cannot keep a track of that. That being said, I think basically that's what I need to just talk about it. So yeah, those are the major differences. Like I said, you can decide to venture into both front-end and back-end development, and that is when the term is now called full stack, because you're doing the full programming or web development proper, which is a very good idea if somebody have commitment. Like I said, I am a nurse, so most times there will be a conflict of interest because I'm looking to also further my career. So yeah, that is why I decided not to venture into back-end web development. I hope that makes this video end, because I wanted it to be as short as possible, brief as possible, because I've gotten a question about it, and that's why I just said, okay, you know what, let me address it. So yeah, see you guys in another video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and give it a thumbs up. Until next time, bye.